So, my new AI generated novel just hit the stores and it's had critical reviews like, "Please stop messaging me," and "This user has blocked you." So I thought that the next best step would be to give it away on YouTube for free. So I hope you enjoy it. Nikki, please can you play the video? Ruffles was used to the quiet life of Wolfville. Every wolf had a job to do, and everyone was expected to contribute their best effort. He worked at the local Bar Mart, a small store that served the wolf community. One day, after his usual shift was done, Wuffles decided to wander the eerily quiet streets of Wolfville. He stumbled across the library, a place so rarely visited by wolf folk, that he was surprised to find that it was open. Wuffles went in, naturally curious. As he explored further, Wuffles found a mysterious old book with no name or origin. As he cautiously opened the book, he suddenly felt the presence of something else in the library. On the book's last page, he found an illustration of an ancient Drago Bunny. The Drago Bunny began to explain its presence and its story. It had been haunted by an evil force, unable to move on or find peace for hundreds of years. It had been searching far and wide for somebody who could set it free from its immortality. Wuffles knew he had to help, and thus his journey began. Wuffles was in the middle of his evening routine when it happened. The building started to shake as if there was an earthquake. Not wanting to take any chances, Wuffles quickly grabbed whatever was near and rushed to the basement. When Wuffles arrived at the basement, he looked around in confusion. Instead of just dark, musty walls like usual, there was a whole city of tiny dinosaurs. Everywhere Wuffles looked, there were little T-Rexes, Triceratops and Pterodactyls happily scuttling around. Wuffles couldn't believe his eyes. He curiously approached one of the animals and waved his hand in front of it. It perked up and stared at him, crest erected as if expecting him to say something. Wuffles burst into laughter. This whole situation was outrageous. How had he gone from hearing a tornado of tiny dinosaurs to finding himself at a city of them underneath his house? He eventually got accustomed to the dinosaurs and even made a few friends. Every day, Wuffles would play with them, listen to the stories from the elders, and sometimes even help the dinosaurs out with their day-to-day problems. He couldn't help but feel guilty though. He had disrupted their home and way of life, and he wished there was a way he could help make up for that. Then, one day, Wuffles came up with an idea. He decided to put together a celebration honouring the dinosaurs and opening up the basement to the rest of the world. The celebration was a complete success. All of the people from the city attended, and it was the first step in helping the dinosaur community integrate into the larger city. Wuffles never expected a tornado of tiny dinosaurs to lead him to such an adventure, but by working together, he and the dinosaurs were able to build a new life in an unlikely place. Everything has a price, and Wuffles was starting to learn that the hard way. He awoke that morning in a grotesque, ornate room, which he quickly realised was neither his own nor intended for his comfort. The scene was dominated by a pair of majestic orcs, standing majestically in the centre of the room. He knew from somewhere deep within the back of his head that these creatures did not belong, and the circumstances of his arrival had been most peculiar. As he scrambled to his feet, the orcs shifted, like a sentinel coming alive. With deep, throaty noises, they began to taunt him, chanting "cheep, cheep, 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 cheep" in haunting harmony. His heart pounding, Wuffles looked to the walls and saw strange, transparent hands reaching out of the shadows, as if dancing to the mocking chorus. He could feel their presence, like a crowd of phantoms hovering around, gawking and judging. Suddenly, he knew why he was brought here. In a cruel twist of existential irony, he now understood that his life could be purchased for the same cost that he once extended to others. He was in debt, and he must pay his dues. It was a lesson he would not soon forget. Wuffles paced nervously through the streets of an abandoned city, dreading the thought of a zombie apocalypse. Because there's a zombie apocalypse apparently. Doing her best to avoid confrontation, she ventured as quickly and quietly as she could towards the looming ruins in the middle of the icy wasteland. She was on a mission to find the spirit's body so that she could move on to the afterlife and she could be free of this misfortune. It was their only way to restore balance and allow both of them for a chance to go in their separate happy way. As the ruins grew closer and closer, the snow shifted beneath her feet and Wuffles grew increasingly frightened. She had no idea what she would find once she entered the eerie area, and the thought of a swarm of undead creatures was almost too much to bear. Still, Wuffles refused to give up and continued to press on. When she finally arrived at the entrance, she was relieved to find the path clear of the undead. She soon found herself in the middle of the ruins, which appeared to be of an ancient city dating back hundreds of years. Wuffles was in awe of the place, but that feeling quickly evaporated as she began to sense an eerie presence. Despite her fear, Wuffles forged ahead through the ruins, determined to find the spirit's body. Eventually, Wuffles stumbled upon a large structure, and it quickly became apparent why she was drawn to this place. Inside was the spirit's body, preserved perfectly despite its age. Wuffles wasted no time in saying a proper goodbye. She thanked the spirit for escorting her on such an incredible journey, and, with a sad heart, granted it the peace it deserved. Back in the present day, because apparently this was all set in the past, Wuffles is happy knowing that the spirit has made its way safely to the afterlife and they could both move on with their lives in peace. Many months passed. There were two adventurers named Wuffles and Tom. Who's Tom? Don't think about it. And they were travelling together through a distant mountain range. On their journey, they came across a mysterious cave, and within, they encountered a majestic creature. It was a dragon, and its name was Drake. Wuffles and Tom were astonished at the dragon's size and grace, and they found themselves strangely drawn to it. Drake looked at the two adventurers with curiosity in its eye, and it spoke to them in a deep and soothing voice, asking them where they had come from and why they were there. Wuffles told the dragon that they had come to the mountains to find adventure, and the dragon smiled in understanding. But the Drake asked a question. Which type of creature was better, wolves or dragons? Wuffles wasn't sure what to say, and he looked at the dragon with surprise. Tom, the absolute gigachad, stepped forward and declared that wolves were better than dragons, since they were loyal and brave creatures. But Drake disagreed, and said that dragons were more mighty and powerful. The argument continued for some time, until finally, Wuffles declared that the only way to truly know would be to have a battle. Tom and Wuffles looked at each other in shock, but before they could protest, despite the fact that the battle was Wuffles' idea, Drake had already soared into the sky and disappeared into the clouds. Not knowing what else to do, the adventurers followed it, and soon enough they were in a cliff face, facing off against the dragon. The fight between wolves and dragons raged on for what felt like hours. Finally, Drake conceded that wolves were the more loyal creatures, but dragons were more powerful and brave. Wuffles and Tom realised that both creatures had qualities that made them amazing, and they both admired Drake for its bravery and wisdom. The three adventurers hugged goodbye, and Drake disappeared into the night, not to be seen again. Tom and Woofles watched as it flew away and knew that they had made a new friend in the mountains. Woofles had just returned from a camping trip in the mountains. He felt refreshed from the peace and beauty enjoyed while amongst the rocky peaks. His love for the outdoors felt rekindled, and he couldn't wait for his next opportunity to breathe the fresh mountain air. But when he returned home, he noticed something peculiar. He felt strangely shrunken. He looked down at his hands and saw that the size of his body had decreased to that of a small cat. Though he was initially alarmed, he soon realised the amazing opportunity he had to explore the world through the eyes of a cat. He could see his familiar home in a way that he never could see it before. Woofles felt excited for the new possibilities this newfound miniature vision could bring, and he accepted the challenge. Using Arlo, a curious ginger cat, to be his guide, Woofles was taken on the most extraordinary journey. The duo ate grass for lunch, played hide and seek in the park, and scarpered beneath the furniture. Everything Woofles experienced was new and exciting. Woofles soon realised that this remarkable journey had taught him more than how to see the world from a tiny perspective. It had taught him the profound power of friendship and respect for all living creatures, no matter their size. He returned home the same size as before, and took comfort in this idea that he could journey through life with both his own eyes and those of his adventures with Arlo. Woofles had been on a round-the-world tour with his bear family to explore new sights, sounds and cultures. They had seen exotic places, visiting ancient monuments, and tasted a great variety of flavours. But after all this time, Woofles was more than ready to go home. As they all said their goodbyes to all the wonderful people they had met on their journey, Woofles started to feel a strange presence behind him, and as he turned, he couldn't believe what he saw. It was his evil twin named Howfles. Howfles was laughing at Woofles, and he immediately knew why. Howfles hated waffles, and was more partial to pancakes, and he was very jealous of Woofles' adventures. Howfles then declared that he was on a journey to foil Woofles' plans and spread the word that pancakes were better than waffles. Woofles was curious, so he roared back and told Howfles that he was never going to win. Woofles told Howfles that waffles were the more superior breakfast food, and Howfles had no chance of stealing the spotlight from Waffles. With a roar, Woofles quickly scurried back home, apparently. As Woofles arrived, he knew for sure that Howfles would never triumph over Waffles. Woofles had learned a lot on his travels, and he was ready to share his news with everybody he knew. Waffles will always be number one. Dust settles, and the smell of freshly cooked waffles fills the room as everybody celebrates Woofles' victory over his evil twin, now and forever. The end. Question mark? So that is our story. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something along the way. If you're wondering how I generated this, I used a tool called Toolbaz. Link down below. It's generally not used for actually writing stories, but mainly as a spitballing ideas and stuff for plots. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you're wondering, here's some of my social medias. Please write them down now. We're getting cancelled. This is the last show we're gonna have. So you need to do it quickly, okay? Right, okay. Hope you remember, guys, that you matted yesterday, you matted today, and you matted tomorrow. Bye, Nikki, grab the fridge. Grab the fridge.